My name is Bettie Spruill, and I live in the Bay Area in California. And my work involves basically having people have a deeper realization of who they are and their roles in the world as it relates to other people. My primary concern today is how do we live and work and play and love together on this tiny planet with the amount of change that's happening all the time. It's basically accelerated change. So just as we look at change in terms of perception, perception is the way that we see the world, and as we see the world, we also create the world. For a time, we lived as if our perception, we were perceiving the perceivers over here, and there was a world over there that was being perceived. Now, what we're saying is, as we perceive, we create at the same time. And I think that's very, very powerful for us, because we have a way then to generate and create worlds instead of living as if we are at effect or being victimized by the world. And for a long time, for thousands of years, people lived as if the world, quote, the world was doing something to them. Now we're finding that we're co-participants in the creation of the world. And it's through our perception that we can become aware of. We can become a different kind of observer and see how we are observing our perception. Another word I have for perception is worldview. What's our view of the world? Because as I view the world will occur. And as it's occurring, that's where I began to have some power if I'm in on what's happening versus it's being done to me. What is a miracle? Such a great question. I think birth itself is a miracle. You know, you think about the process. A sperm and an egg comes together and it goes into this tiny womb, and then it expands and expands and it expands, and then somewhere between 8 and 10 months, 9.5 months, this life appears. I think that in itself is the first miracle. And then other kinds of miracles, I don't know if they are miracles or if they have so much to do with our perception. Because some of the things that we call miracles are just breaks in how we've been observing the world. Now, just at lunch, I was talking to a man about his wife. She's rapidly healing some condition that she had, and they're calling it a miracle. It is, but what happened was she started to see herself differently. She started to see her body differently. And not just see, but she had a different relationship. And then something started happening in this body where she's no longer the victim of her body, but she has some say-so in what's happening in her body. And that's a miracle. I was driving across the Golden Gate Bridge today. It was so spectacular, absolutely beautiful. And many people say it's a miracle that this bridge got built. The innovation that went into it at the time would be called a miracle. And it was a miracle because someone saw that it could be done, number one. Someone saw that there could be a bridge between this body of water and this body of water. And when he went to tell people about it, they went, "You're crazy." And then when it was all built, people said, "Ah, that's a miracle." So what is a miracle? A lot of it has to do with perception. A lot of the miracle mindedness has to do with who you say you are relative to what we call this world, or relative to what we call reality. Miracles happen all the time. But are we aware of it? Can we perceive it? Can we have every new moment be a birth moment? And in that birth moment, there's a possibility of life being altered. And maybe that's what we call miracles. Well, let me say it this way. There is no world like a world out there. There is interpretations, and those interpretations then began to have show up what we called the world, as if the world, again, is over there someplace. How do I perceive this thing, this phenomena called world? The world then shows up for me as a space. It's an empty space in which I get to extend or project our commitment. And whatever's showing up is showing up out of a worldview, a perception. Now, what is the natural world? Let's say there's the natural world, and then there's the world a social world, what we call a social reality. So the natural world, like the flowers and the plants and the trees and the water and all of that wonderful stuff, is a context in which we human beings get to live. Because if we didn't have that, we couldn't be here with air, water, light, and all of that. So that world operates with a set of laws called natural laws. And then there's the social world that also is in operation by a set of laws and principles. And whatever laws and principles we're living by, the world occurs in that particular way. I don't know if it's possible not to have perception. I do think it's possible, however, to be aware that it's perception. And in the awareness of that, you're not attached to any particular perception. You're aware of that there is an animating force that's moving through all of us and everything that grants life to everything. And with that awareness, it grants me the awareness that that's happening. Then I am more conscious of what perception I'm living out of. And the more I can align with the perception of the all, which is what I call it, which I don't even know if that's possible, because then you try to get people to be someplace and have everyone see the world the same, and that's not the deal this time, that we all see the world the same. In fact, no two people have the same set of eyeballs. That's so brilliant to me. And eyeballs, which have to do with seeing, is letting me know that we see the world differently. And when we can have a context, a unity context, where each person's seeing is valued and respected, then that paves the way for a kind of genius, a kind of awakening that we've never seen on this planet before. And so minus perception, I don't know if we are constructed that way yet. So perception is creation, and we're always creating. And the question for me today is, are my creations in alignment with, are they congruent with that which speaks to our hearts at the deepest level? And when I connect with that perception and that knowing, then something else will become possible for all of us. Well, one of the first principles of mastery of anything is awareness and being present. And being present to that I'm a beginner. People have a hard time with being a beginner. And unless I can acknowledge myself as a beginner, then I can't master. I can't even let myself move in the direction of mastery. So an awareness. And masterful living, then, is also about being aware, being present to one's experience, being present to how the world is occurring, and that the meanings or my worldview has something to do with how the world is occurring. Mastery, whether it's in coaching, whether it's in training, whether it's in living, has to do with the practices that we embody. And our practices are not for us to get better at something, I found. Practicing our practices is about becoming the kind of being who can participate with whatever is showing up, with whatever is occurring. So I have a practice of meditation, mindfulness. And I found that when I first started, I thought the practice was to have me be peaceful, no matter what was going on. Now I find that the practice is about me being present to whatever is going on, however it's going on, and being available to what needs to be available to. So I'm not trying to be peaceful. I'm not trying not to be peaceful. I'm being present. And that's a practice in itself. I don't have one because the world, again, is an occurring world. It's not fixed. But what I would like to see happen, I would like to see people be kind to each other. I would like to see the political forces in our world, because as I said, a kind of power, politics, economic power, social power, that we begin to recognize that we're all in this dance and all in this game together. And that will allow for a kind of vision that I can't even envision yet for us here on this planet. And again, I think love and kindness, it's an overworked word, I think, but I think authentic love and kindness, which is the water we swim in all the time, has been moved to the background. And when we can get that we're all swimming in this water together, then a new vision, a new narrative, a new story will begin to emerge for not only us human beings, but for the planet itself.